All right, everybody, welcome back to the deep dive.
Good to be back.
Always fun to dive into these topics that, are really sort of defining, uh, I don't know, the future.
Yeah, shaping the future.
Yeah, shaping the future, exactly.
Yeah.
And this is a really interesting one, and kind of touches on a few different things we've talked about on the show before, but from a new angle. Um, we're talking crypto today,
Yeah.
specifically what might be going on behind the scenes in the U.S. government. And this whole idea of a strategic Bitcoin reserve and how that might play into a broader, digital asset strategy for the country.
It's a bold proposition.
It is bold.
And certainly unexpected, I think, from a lot of people.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, unexpected.
And there's a lot to unpack here. We've got some great source material to work with today. Crypto Slate, CNBC, and Forbes all have some recent reporting on this, and I think we can, weave those together and really paint a picture of what's going on here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to dig in. So let's start with this executive order that kind of kicked everything off, signed earlier this month. And as you said, a lot of folks were taken aback by it. It essentially directs the government to start exploring the creation of a strategic Bitcoin reserve and also a broader U.S. digital asset stockpile. So right off the bat, that signals a pretty significant shift in thinking, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Excellent.
It's interesting because we have, public statements from, a couple of years back really dismissing crypto as a scam.
Right.
And now we're seeing, this very proactive approach to establishing a strategic reserve.
Yeah, and it's not just Bitcoin, right? The executive order specifically mentions Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano. So it's looking at a range of these digital assets.
Yeah, it suggests a broader understanding of the space and the potential beyond just Bitcoin.
Right, and the stated aim here is to solidify the U.S.'s dominance in this space.
Yeah, to really cement that leadership position in digital assets.
So what do you make of that? Is this a genuine recognition of the importance of these technologies, or is there something else at play here?
Well, it's hard to say for certain, right? But there are certainly some voices that are raising concerns about the motivations behind this.
Right, and a lot of those concerns are coming from Representative Gerald D. Connolly. He's the top Democrat on the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee.
Yeah.
And he's been very vocal in his opposition to this plan.
Yes, he has.
He's calling it fiscally irresponsible, politically motivated, no clear public benefit. And he's actually urging the Treasury Department to completely abandon these plans.
Yeah, he's not holding back.
He's not. So what's the crux of his argument here? What are his main concerns?
Well, he's really zeroing in on the potential for conflicts of interest.
Okay.
He points to, previous statements and potential financial ties that could suggest that this is more about personal gain than it is about, a sound economic strategy for the country.
Right. He specifically mentions the former president's investment in World Liberty Financial, which is a company that's involved in the digital asset space.
Exactly. And there's the concern that if the government starts buying up, large quantities of certain cryptocurrencies, it could artificially inflate the value of those assets, and that would directly benefit anyone who holds those assets.
Right. And Connolly also brings up that Trend MP meme coin and the fact that there were significant trading fees generated by entities that were linked to...
Right. It's a tangled web.
It is a tangled web.
And it does raise serious questions about whether this is, a legitimate policy decision or whether it's something that's being driven by other motives.
Right. And beyond the ethical concerns, there's also the economic argument that Connolly's making about the government essentially picking winners and losers in the market. If they're favoring certain digital assets over others, they could really distort the market and, create an unfair advantage.
Yeah. And that's a core principle of, free market economics, that the government shouldn't be interfering in the market in that way.
Right.
So it's a very valid concern.
And Connolly is also really concerned about the lack of transparency and oversight here. He points out that there hasn't been any congressional approval or even consultation on this plan.
Yeah.
And he even mentions that a Federal Reserve official reportedly expressed skepticism about the idea.
That's concerning.
It is concerning. So what is Connolly actually calling for? What does he want to see happen?
Well, he's demanding full transparency.
Okay.
He wants the Treasury Department to provide a complete briefing to the House Oversight Committee by March 27th.
Okay.
And he wants a clear explanation of the legal justification for establishing this reserve, how they plan to manage these assets, what the potential impact on the markets might be, and any financial ties between the White House and digital asset firms.
So he's basically saying, pump the brakes. Let's get all the information out in the open
Exactly.
before we move forward with this.
Sunlight is the best disinfectant.
That's right. So we've got this, pretty strong opposition coming from Congress. But on the other hand, you have folks in the crypto world who are actually quite optimistic about these developments.
Yes.
Richard Teng, the CEO of Binance, which is one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world, he spoke at an event in Singapore recently, and he suggested that this, pro-crypto stance from the U.S. government could actually encourage regulators in other countries to be more open to crypto.
Right. The idea is that if the U.S., which is, a global financial leader, starts taking crypto seriously,
Yeah.
it could give other countries the confidence to do the same.
Right. And Chao Deng, the CEO of Hashkey Capital, also echoed this view, saying that there's a growing sense that both institutional investors and everyday people are going to be more comfortable getting into crypto under this administration.
Yeah.
Teng even went so far as to say that this U.S. crypto reserve could be a landmark issue that could influence how other governments approach allocating their own reserves.
It's a powerful statement.
Yeah, it is. And he also contrasted this with the approach of the previous administration, which he described as Operation Choke Point 2.0, essentially alleging that they were pressuring banks to cut ties with crypto businesses.
Yeah. That was a very different approach.
It's very different, much more antagonistic.
Yeah. Regulation via enforcement.
Right. So it seems like there's a sense that this administration might be more willing to work with the crypto industry to, create a more regulated but also more supportive environment.
Yeah. Potentially more collaborative approach.
Now, it's interesting because despite all this positive sentiment, the price of Bitcoin actually dipped after the executive order was announced.
It did.
Teng attributed that to maybe some unrealistic expectations and maybe some broader concerns about other economic policies. But he maintained that the long-term drivers of crypto adoption are still very strong.
Right. He's looking at things like the increasing institutional interest,
Yeah.
the continued development of the technology itself, and the potential for governments to actually start integrating crypto into their financial systems.
Right. So he's seeing this as more of a blip on the radar,
Aye.
a temporary setback.
A tactical retreat.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But then things get even more interesting because Swimos reported on a potential leak from the White House, suggesting that the administration is actually aiming to acquire as much Bitcoin as possible.
Wow.
This comes from comments reportedly made by Bo Hines, who's the executive director of the Presidential Working Group on Digital Assets.
Okay.
He was speaking at a Bitcoin Policy Institute roundtable, and this is according to folks who attended the meeting, including some prominent senators and crypto industry leaders.
So this wasn't just some, offhand comment. It was a meeting with some serious players in the space.
Exactly. And to make things even more intriguing, a White House official actually confirmed Hines' comments
Okay.
and added that any such acquisitions would be budget neutral.
That's a key detail.
It is budget neutral.
Yeah.
So how would they even go about doing that?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There are a few possibilities. They could potentially sell other government assets. They could explore some innovative financial mechanisms. There's a lot of speculation, but no concrete details yet.
Right. And Senator Cynthia Lummis, who's a big advocate for Bitcoin, she's actually reintroduced legislation that would aim to buy up to 1 million Bitcoin over the next 5 years.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It is ambitious.
Yeah.
So it seems like there's definitely some serious momentum building behind this idea.
Yeah, it's not just talk anymore.
Now, it's important to note that the initial executive order didn't actually commit to buying any Bitcoin immediately,
Right.
which might explain that initial price dip.
Yeah, the market might have been expecting more concrete action.
Right. But the U.S. government already holds a significant amount of Bitcoin, roughly 200,000, mostly from forfeitures in law enforcement actions.
Right.
And the former president's advisor on crypto, David Sachs, he's said that the Treasury is working to maximize the value of those holdings.
So they're already thinking strategically about how to manage those assets.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Now, despite all this, some analysts are saying that maybe we shouldn't get too carried away with concerns about this reserve.
Okay.
Tegas Capital, for example, they suggest that future budget-neutral purchases, along with other countries adopting Bitcoin, could actually offset any negative impacts.
Right, so a more globalized approach could mitigate some of the risks.
Exactly. And Brett Reeves of BitGo, he points out that regardless of the price fluctuations, the digital asset space is still evolving incredibly rapidly.
Yeah, the innovation continues.
So it seems like even with some bumps in the road, the overall trend is still towards growth and change.
It's a dynamic space for sure.
So to sum it all up, we've got a pretty fascinating situation here.
We do.
We've got lawmakers voicing serious concerns about this potential Bitcoin reserve, and then you've got the executive branch seemingly pushing ahead with it.
Yeah.
And then you've got players in the crypto world who are optimistic about the potential implications.
It's a real clash of perspectives.
It is, and it's all playing out against this backdrop of incredibly rapid technological development and shifting global economic dynamics.
Yeah, it's a story that's still being written.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we leave you today, we want to leave you with a final thought to ponder. What would it mean for the world if multiple governments started holding significant portions of their national reserves in cryptocurrencies?
It's a mind-blowing concept.
It is. What new opportunities might arise? What unforeseen challenges that we face, both for the global economy and for individual investors? It's something to really think about.
It's a question that could define the future of finance.
And on that note, we want to encourage you to keep digging deeper into these topics and exploring the different viewpoints out there.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking for more of this kind of in-depth analysis, the kind that really makes you think and gives you that edge,
Yeah.
that helps you build your knowledge, stay motivated, find inspiration, get those creative ideas flowing, see things from new angles, understand different perspectives on what success can be,
All is good things.
all those good things, then you got to check out our YouTube channel, Necessary Cookies. We're all about bringing you thoughtful content that goes beyond just the headlines.
Yeah, we want to ignite your wisdom.
That's right. Ignite that wisdom. So hit that subscribe button on Necessary Cookies and join us as we explore the ideas and trends that are shaping the future.
I'll see you there.
See you there.